Hello and welcome to the Empulse F35 installation video. My name is Parker and I am the Empulse Power Assist Product Manager for North America. In this video, we're going to cover the installation and how to set up your Empulse F35. To start the installation process, remove the 3 screws out of the frame clamps. To do this, use a 4mm Allen wrench. Remove all the screws and set them to the side. For this selection process, we're going to demonstrate both on a rigid chair as well as a folding chair. First, looking at a rigid chair, we need to select a portion of the frame that has a flat, straight section along the front frame of the chair that can fit the F35 frame clamp. The F35 frame clamp can be attached anywhere along the front of the frame, including, and on some chairs potentially will need to be mounted below the caster and facing forward. Please be aware of a chair's inset will have an impact on this, as well as the caster height. For folding chairs, the frame clamps cannot be attached to the swing-away hanger portion of the chair. They must be attached to the main frame of the wheelchair. To do this, we want to identify a section that is straight and has enough space to fit the frame clamps. On some chair models and configurations, this can happen on the front of the frame chair. For others, you may need to attach the frame clamps at the base of the wheelchair's frame. Once the frame clamp position has been identified, loosely mount the frame clamp into position. We still want to make sure that we can adjust the clamp's position on the frame. For chairs with round frames, make sure to use the included inserts that match your chair's diameter. The inserts will help the clamp hold onto the frame appropriately. Next, remove all the screws from the docking clamp, including the 4 on the front and 4 on the back. Next, remove the 2 screws on the back that hold on the attachment point. Insert the subframes into each docking clamp. Ensure that the subframe orientation is the same for both. Align the subframes so that they are in line with each other. Next, take the docking clamp and identify the top, indicated by a dimple on the top of the back. Place that, centering it between the 2 subframe pieces, and then add the front. Loosely tighten the front 4 screws. Holding the positions of the docking clamp. Next, we're going to ensure that the subframe is easy to dock and de-dock. To do this, we want to loosen the docking bolts on both sides and then test to make sure that the subframe easily slides in and out of the docking frame. Once that's been established, we want to start evenly tightening the frame clamps to ensure that the gap in the front is the same as the back. Once both frame clamps have been tightened, check to make sure the subframe still moves in and out easily. If it does not, check the angle of each frame clamp and ensure it has not changed. Next, make sure that the wheelchair wheel locks are locked, holding the chair in place. Insert the included blocks underneath the front casters of the wheelchair. These blocks will help ensure that the casters are set at the appropriate height when the F35 is attached. Next, we're going to attach the docking mechanism to the docking frame. Ensure that the silver bar is at the bottom and the hooks are at the top. Holding the part in place, bring the F35 over and align the hooks with the silver bar on the F35. After roughly aligning the F35 and the docking clamp, remove the F35, hold the clamp in place, and hand tighten the 2 screws to hold the clamp in place from the back. Gently tighten the 2 screws at the back and then test the fitment of the F35. Bring the F35 in, make sure that the silver post is in line with the hooks, and pull the F35 forward. You'll hear a click as it latches in place. To check the fitment, we want to make sure the F35 wheel is on the ground and everything is connected and attached the way it's supposed to. Next, with the F35 in place, make sure that all the bolts are appropriately tightened on the F35 docking hardware. That includes the 4 bolts on the front of the frame clamp and the 4 bolts on the back, the 3 bolts that tighten each frame clamp, as well as the bolts on the back of the frame clamp that hold the F35 angle and position. These 2 bolts in particular need to be torqued to 15 Newton meters, and it is important to do so. If they are not appropriately tightened, the angle of the F35 will change and the ride will change. Next, we're going to remove the F35 and the docking hardware so that we can test its position and discuss how it can be adjusted if needed. First, remove the F35. Remove the subframe. And remove the mounting blocks. To test the installation of the F35, position the rider in the chair. Attach the subframe by inserting it into the frame clamps. Secure the subframe by tightening the docking screws. These just need to be hand tightened. Then bring the F35 into place, aligning the silver pin with the hook and pushing forward. If the rider cannot position the F35 in the frame clamp due to either their thighs or the rider position being in the way, the attachment piece can be adjusted by either moving it up or down on the docking clamp, or the angle can be adjusted at the frame clamp by loosening this screw and adjusting the angle here. It's important to remember, though, that when the F35 is installed, the front casters are lifted up off the ground. The casters should not be in contact with the ground when the F35 is installed. When the F35 is installed and attached in the driving position, the angle of the F35 stick should be close to 80 degrees for optimal performance. The F35 can be adjusted closer or farther away from the rider by adjusting the angle here or by moving the subframe closer to the rider. Once the F35 position is optimized for the rider, including the stick angle as well as the depth of the subframe into the frame clamps, take the included foam tubing, align it with the subframe, and mark it so that it will touch just the edge of the frame clamp. Once marked, cut the foam along the line and check it again. With the subframe removed, liberally apply rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol to the subframe to help lubricate attaching or sliding the foam onto the subframe. Ensure that the cut end goes towards the docking clamp. Test it. With the foam installed on one side, repeat on the other. The F35 is now fully installed on a rigid chair. Next, we will show an example of an F35 fully installed on a folding chair and where the differences may be. Here we have the F35 completely installed on a folding chair with swing-away hangers. I want to call out a few of the differences here between the rigid frame. You can see the frame clamps have been installed on the lower portion of the chair's main frame as an example, if there was not room to mount the frame clamps on the front of the chair's main frame. To do this, we had to loosen this bolt here and adjust the angle of this docking and subframe attachment. You can also see that the subframe is longer in order to get around the swing-away hangers. In this example, we have also moved the F35 and mounting position down, bringing the casters closer to the ground, but still off the ground, which would make it easier for the individual to mount the F35 if there was interference with their thighs or body position.